Hello everyone, mass-loaded vinyl, also known as MLV, is a soundproofing material that I talk about often in my videos. Simply because it works and it's easily accessible and it's not terribly difficult to install. In this video, I'll tell you everything that you need to know about mass-loaded vinyl. Is it safe to use in your home, or is this a toxic product that you should handle with care? How much does it cost, and how and where to install this type of soundproofing material. This is basically a remake of an older video I did years ago, and it's gotten a lot of views, but it's time for an update because throughout the years I've learned more about mass-loaded vinyl, and also I've had a lot of questions throughout the years regarding this type of soundproofing material, and I figured this would be a good video to answer some of those popular questions. One of the most popular questions regarding mass-loaded vinyl is what is it made of and what does it do in terms of soundproofing? Well, mass-loaded vinyl is a special soundproofing material that is specifically designed with the primary purpose as serving as a sound barrier. And there's a lot you can do with mass-loaded vinyl in terms of soundproofing and sound deadening that goes beyond just soundproofing a wall. This flexible material, also referred to as a limp mass barrier, is made up of two principal compounds, a natural high mass element such as barium sulfate and a calcium carbonate and vinyl. The vinyl is what gives the MLV its flexibility, while the barium sulfate or calcium carbonate, which are highly dense compounds, is what gives this material its soundproofing capabilities. I pulled up the MSDS Material Safety Data Sheet, and this is what it states. All mass-loaded vinyl products are classified as articles under applicable EPA regulations and OSHA standards. Under normal conditions of use, these articles do not release or otherwise result in exposure to hazardous chemicals. What also makes MLV such a great choice for noise reduction is the fact that it's a double threat. It's both a potent sound barrier and also an effective sound absorber. This is unlike most other noise reduction materials such as fiberglass or mineral fiber that only does one but not the other. For example, sound absorbing foam, it does good at sound absorbing, but it won't really do anything at sound blocking. But aside from sound absorbing and blocking capabilities, what really sets MLV apart is its flexibility. Unlike other soundproofing material which are too rigid or thick to bend, mass-loaded vinyl is flexible enough to be installed in a variety of places for a variety of purposes, like in homes and even in vehicles. This means you get the density of soundproof-like materials like concrete and hard board, but the flexibility of rubber. The flexibility aspects allows you to wrap and mold MLV as you please. But is mass-loaded vinyl safe to use inside your home and your vehicles? Well, good news. MLV is completely safe as long as you use it correctly. As earlier mentioned, barium sulfate is a primary ingredient in creating mass-loaded vinyl. It is used in its inert form to create MLV. In its inert form, barium sulfate is safe, unlike elemental barium, which can be very toxic if individual is exposed to high levels of it. But if you do intend to use mass-loaded vinyl inside your walls, is it flammable? Well, good news again, mass-loaded vinyl is designed to withstand high temperatures. This doesn't mean that it's 100% fireproof though. If exposed to higher temperatures for a continued and extended period of time, the plasticizers within it will ignite. But because of how much heat it'll take to burn MLV, it's definitely safer than foam panel if fire safety is one of your top concerns. Another popular question is, where is the best place to install mass-loaded vinyl? There are many ways to use MLV as a soundproofing or sound deadening material, but most people use this to soundproof a wall, floor, or ceiling. The best place to install MLV for soundproofing a wall is to have it sandwiched between two layers of drywall. Some people ask if it's okay to just hang the vinyl from the ceiling instead of adding another layer of drywall, and the answer to that is no, not really. The reason why it doesn't do a great job if you hang it from the floor to ceiling is there's gaps everywhere. The best way for mass-loaded vinyl to create a good soundproofing barrier is to attach it directly to the drywall and make sure to have no gaps in between the sheets and around the wall. You can, however, close all those gaps using acoustic sealant. This type of sealant is like caulking but doesn't dry and crack over time. It stays rubbery and will help close all the gaps on the wall. And if you're installing it on the ceiling, you'll be doing it the same way as you'd be doing it on the wall, in between 2 layers of drywall. If you're soundproofing a floor, just roll it on the floorboards, making sure to cover the entirety of the floor. Then add your flooring on top of the MLV, and this will not only block noise from upstairs, it will also do a great job at deadening footstep noise from above. You can also use a self-adhesive mass-loaded vinyl to help soundproof water pipe in your homes. It does a great job at soundproofing, or I guess sound deadening, the water flowing through the pipes. The self-adhesive mass-loaded vinyl is more commonly used in cars to reduce road noise. You can also install MLV on a backyard fence facing the road to reduce vehicle noise. Just make sure to leave as little gaps as possible if you do install it on a fence. Because they say even just a crack can let about 50% of the noise back through. It might seem exaggerated to think about that, but just go to a very noisy street and open a window just a crack. You will hear the difference. So just think about that when installing the mass-loaded vinyl. Leave no cracks and use the acoustic sealants between the sheets and bind them together. And that brings me to another question that is commonly asked is, can you paint mass-loaded vinyl? Well, in most cases, you wouldn't really think about painting MLV because it's usually not exposed. But what if it's on a backyard fence? Well, the good news, MLV is paint friendly, and latex paint is what works best for this type of material. Right now, it's only available in black and gray, but you can also find a transparent version, but it might not be worth the extra cost to go that route. So now let's talk about some other mass-loaded vinyl advantages and some of the disadvantages that you might find. One of the biggest advantages of MLV is its lack of thickness. In most cases, to block sound, you need a very thick, dense material. When you think of something that dense, you probably picture a thick slab of concrete or something of equal density, not something that's cardboard thin. Another advantage is its weight. I keep saying it's heavy, but when installed, it's light enough that you wouldn't have to worry of it collapsing on a wall or floor. It's only really heavy when it's all rolled up. That can be viewed as a disadvantage if you're installing this type of material solo. I'd recommend having a helper to install this on walls or ceiling because one roll of MLV can weigh hundreds of pounds. And one good thing is you'll save if you buy in bulk, but also the bigger the roll, the heavier it will be. So just remember that when placing an order. Another significant advantage of MLV is its flexibility, which completely separates it from most other soundproofing material, which is usually really rigid, like I mentioned a minute ago. You can twist, wrap, and bend MLV in any way you want to install on surfaces of all shapes and forms. As I said earlier, you can wrap it and install it around pipes, bends, corners, vents, and whatever hard-to-reach places that you may find. Now let's look at MLV disadvantages. So far, MLV has only one major drawback, and that's its price. A square foot of mass-loaded vinyl can cost anywhere between $1 and $2.50 per square foot, depending on the manufacturer, type, and also the seller. But I'll have links in the description below to make it a lot easier for which one to choose at the right price. If you're on a tight budget or have a lot of surface to soundproof, then mass-loaded vinyl isn't probably the thing for you. But if you need to soundproof someplace where it's hard to reach, like a pipe or vents or specialized rooms, such as a home theater or a recording studio, MLV is a good way to go. So there you have it. If you have any more questions regarding mass-loaded vinyl, comment down below and I'll do my very best to answer all of your questions and concerns. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.